Okay, awesome. Thank you so much again for being here, everyone, with their energy. The one thing that I ask is that you be in this conversation from the space of just one thing that you need in one area of life. If you want to drop that in the chat, great. If you don't, just want to have it in mind, that's fine too. So next slide, please. Okay, so I'm not gonna go through my bio. I've done cool shit in the world. That's enough. You can read that somewhere. I don't want to take up time doing that. But what I do want to share is that for about 8 years, I actually dealt with a depression, which had, ebbs and flows, but it was like kind of like a stagnant, like how an air conditioner goes in terms of vitality in my life. And I miraculously, healed from that. Ebbs and flows, but it was like kind of like a stagnant, like how an air conditioner. I miraculously, healed from that. Ebbs and flows, but it was like kind of,
repeating again.
Apparently, we still have that echo, everyone. 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 Apparently, we still have that echo, everyone.
Yes. Here. Yes. Here. Yes. Here.
Don't hear anything.
I don't hear anything either. Let me see. No. I didn't hear an echo. I just. Should I continue? Oh. Okay, I'll just go ahead and continue. Okay, so after healing from depression, what I realized is that really the source of depression was that I wasn't getting my needs met. And though my therapist was like, yeah, you need to focus on getting what you need. And I was like, how do you do that? Therapy is great, but it's one arm of like a modality of healing, and that they're not going to give you necessarily a model to what to do. And I desperately wanted something to do. So I studied needs, and this is how I got here. So because John Call is not there with the slides, give me 1 second. Just pull up the slides on my computer. Okay. So first, I'll just define what needs are. It sounds like, it's obvious, but I like to start off with a clear definition so we're all on the same page. And that is needs. A need is a physiological or a psychological requirement for the well-being of an organism. Of course, we're all organisms, you're a human being. So a need is something that is vital to your well-being. It's actually vital to your emotional and physical well-being. And that's important to understand, is that if you don't get your needs met, you may affect, that may very well impact your mental and physical health. Also, an abundance of a need doesn't make up for other unmet needs. So research shows that abundance of money, for example, or having an abundance of friends or great relationships is not going to satisfy the other needs. Research shows they actually need more of a balance of needs. The other aspect of a need is that needs are interpersonal in nature. We actually need each other. There is no need that you can actually accomplish or fulfill without another human being. So we actually need to be connected in order for our needs to be met. And the last thing is that needs are highly subjective. So what I need may very well not be what another person needs, may totally be off the radar for another person, and for another person, like, what are you talking about? So it's highly individualized and very subjective to your own personal experience. So let me see if okay, so the other aspect of needs is that there are a few different types of needs. This is better on the slide, but I'll just read them out. So one is your physiological needs, basic needs, like, okay, food, water, shelter. Next, you have safety and security needs. That's also considered a basic need. We have a need that if I'm in my apartment right now, I have an expectation that a bomb doesn't just flatten this entire building. And that may sound dramatic, but there are a number of people in the world who actually don't have that as a basic need. The other is getting into more sociological needs, which is wanting to have a sense of love and belonging is another. And having also a self-esteem, having a sense of love and having power for yourself. And finally, self-actualization needs. So having being able to say that you have mastered something, and that could be mastery professionally. It could also be mastery of just being a great human being, being masterful at being a parent, for example, or being a great partner, having something that you can say, I'm great at this and I feel great about myself. Awesome, I have the slides. So you could, I did that one already. We already went through that one. You can go ahead and go to the next one. And just give you a little bit of background on that. I just went through those, but the thing to note about this, though it's listed as a hierarchy, a lot of those needs are interchangeable. And so what may be 1 for you, may be a 4 for you, and so on and so forth. So it's just important to note that in order to really have an overall sense of fulfillment and happiness, that really research shows that it's more of a balance. So that's that. We can move on to the next slide. So why is this so hard? Like, why, if it's something a need, if a need is necessary and it's vital and it's supposed to be so important, then why is it so hard for people? And one is, you know, of course, our journeys are all different, but there are definitely some similarities. So I'm not going to go into grand detail in all of these, but just to give you an overview, like, for example, external oppression. There are systems in place that say, you know, you should not, there's certain groups of people that should not get their basic needs met. You know, any marginalized person, group around the world has experienced that. And then that could also become now internalized oppression. So I'm not good enough because I'm a, I don't know, a Black woman who's experienced X. That's one, or I've experienced this and therefore I shouldn't have that. A huge aspect of why people have difficulty with needs is, and this is really actually the most important, is that your primary caretakers, whether your parents, grandparents, but primary caretakers in your life, in your early development, most likely either ignored your needs or didn't have an understanding of what you needed. If you lived in a household where there was addiction, where there was a lot of trauma, where you just had distracted parents, and you may have challenges being an adult and trying to get your needs met. And that then trickles on into having limiting beliefs about needs. So one thing that children do is that they say, okay, in order for me to get my needs met, I'm going to make sure that my parents get what they need. So I'm going to be quiet, or I'm going to be a good girl, or whatever, so I can get what I need, get a bike, get ice cream, as simple as that, or get a hug, you know? So then that trickles into not having the vocabulary and not being comfortable saying, I need X, or this is important to me. You don't actually have the actual words. And then when you do finally realize like, oh God, I need this, this is now getting to a breaking point. Now you may then use a need as a threat. You know, I need more money, or I'm gonna quit this job. I'm out of here. I've actually got 3 offers, I'm out. I need more affection, or we're getting a divorce. So now we're talking, now you're into threat land, and nobody really wants to handle that kind of grenade. And so, but there's really one general factor that comes into why you're not getting your needs met. And that's the next slide. So the main reason why needs are so challenging is because they literally just feel they are unsafe. And an aspect of needs is that they are unsafe. You know, my parents, for example, I'm first generation immigrant, and my father was a political dissident. He had a basic need that that elections be free in the Dominican Republic, and he had to leave. You know, he was hunted. My mother wanted to have a career of her own choosing, and she left Cuba for that. Like, these are basic needs that people don't get and decide to actually and put their own bodies on the line. So though that might not be our experience here, it kind of trickles down into, like, you know, really intergenerational trauma, where it's like, it could be dangerous to say, I need something. And my favorite, what encapsulates really what safety is this quote by Stephen Porges, who is like you could say like the godfather of like the study of the vagus nerve, and the nervous, the vagal system, the nervous system. Not to get into all of that, but if you ever want to just learn more about that, you can YouTube his videos. He has tons of explanations and great, you can get grounded on that. But safety is the absence of a threat in the presence of connection. Safety is the absence of a threat in the presence of connection. So what we may think is safe, what I've always thought was safe was really the first part, the absence of a threat. So for example, I've experienced this a number of times. You know, I'm walking down the street close to my building. Some guy, you know, is following me. And I go, oh my God, I got into the building. Oh my God, I'm safe. Whew, thank God. Or, oh my goodness, I paid that bill before, you know, something happened. Oh, I'm safe. But am I really connected? Am I really present for others? So that's actually not safety. And so safety actually has to be present in the body for yourself and in mind, in order for you to be fully connected, to be able to have the conversation around getting what you need. So I'm actually doing a workshop on this live in New York on the 22nd, where we'll be able to actually go through like what your personal threats are, because the threat, it's like a series of voices that you may have collected over the years when you have faced trying to get something that you need, and also how to create also connection or the presence, really the presence of safety. So this is more of a shorter version of this, but I will go into a deeper dive there. So
Lydia,
yes.
shared a lot, just wonderfully, and in the face of all the technical adversity that we started with. So I wanted to see if we had any questions, any comments, anything that that's coming up for anyone in the community before you go further.
Yes. With the technical stuff, I lost track of the questions, but if anyone doesn't have any questions, what I would ask is what challenge are you facing around having your needs met? I'm going to be quiet. Or I'm going to be what challenge are you facing around having your needs met? I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to be I muted myself because I hear an echo. So
I'll share, good morning, blessings, everybody. I'll share what used to be an issue and a challenge for me, which would be setting boundaries and saying no, right? I didn't like to say no. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to feel, I just wanted to feel needed. So no was rough for me to say. And yeah, I am complete.
thank you for sharing that. Great that you have boundaries in place that take care of you.
I have a question for Rachel. As someone who is struggling with that, how did you create those boundaries and have those conversations with people that you needed to make those boundaries for?
I had to first practice detachment.
Can you say more about that, Rachel?
To learn to be detached from outcome and detached, meaning like I choose. And if I said, I had to practice just being okay with the outcome if I said no, if that person decided that my boundaries were not to their liking, or if they didn't want to hear no, because, you know, coming from a place of always being the yes person and a person that constantly was a people pleaser, no started coming off as a, like, I didn't want to be in a relationship anymore with those people, right? I didn't want to be the friend that I was before, or the mother that I was before, because step away and say, I'm not feeling good about this. And me not feeling good about it is impacting my mental health and my physical health. And I'm complete.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you for sharing that, Rachel. That you brought up some good points as far as also like people pleasing. That's also actually a trauma response that I work with people around. And it's illuminating. It's like it's interesting as you see like how that impacts like a number of areas of your life, particularly like your relationships.
We have a hand raised, Abimbola.
Yes, I learned about boundaries through Woo. Just want to piggyback on Rachel. And I learned about boundaries being in this community. And I didn't know the language. And when someone, I don't remember the facilitator last year that did this workshop. But then I realized with my friends, I felt uncomfortable. And I didn't know why I felt uncomfortable. And when this here word boundaries was introduced, then it made me it resonated with me. That's what I was lacking in my life. And so I learned to walk away from situations as a result of boundaries. And it helped me because now I don't get upset. I realize that you cross the boundary and I have to step away from that situation. So I'm so grateful for this here, this definition or this knowledge called boundaries. It has helped me tremendously and I'm complete. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah, boundaries are like nice little wall, pretty walls, I think, It might sound like boundary harsh, but it's like it gives a person to be within lines for yourself, for your own well-being, and also for the other person too. It's like, this is what works, this is what doesn't work. And most people don't want to actually cross a boundary and be in an uncomfortable, dangerous field. So thank you for sharing that. Anyone else has any questions, anything they would like to share about their experience around needs, boundaries?
Also, I remember this here, Maslow's hierarchy of needs from my
Yes.
psychology class. So when I saw that, I said, oh, wow, I graduated in 1981. And I remember that from my psychology class. So thank you for bringing
reinforcing
that
it.
back up.
Yeah. Maslow's work was interesting. Though the work that I referenced, a lot of it is based on Maslow. It's been updated to include a bunch of people, because Maslow had only focused on like 12 white guys. But after that, they did a study with, I think, interviewing maybe like 60,000 people around the world based upon Maslow's work, and most of it checked out.
We have Marilyn.
Good morning. I've come to learn, and especially through Wu, that I had to heal from my childhood trauma in order to really understand what my needs are and how to address my needs. Yes, and piggybacking off of everybody, boundaries was a huge one that I'm learning how to trying to put in place because it's still a work in progress, but also me reflecting on what my needs are. I'm really looking at what they look like. What do I want them to be? How should they show up for me? And a lot of it stems from a lot of the childhood trauma that I went through, and kind of facing those I've been able to kind of heal and see that fulfilling some of those needs myself, and then just with being around people, joining this community, and just talking about it, and just being out there and making myself vulnerable. And I am complete.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Marilyn. Yes, it really does land. It really does start in childhood in terms of what you experience with your needs. Like if you had parents that were like, oh, what do you need? Are you okay? Or we don't got time for that. Come on, let's go. We don't have time for your crying. Like there's real life things going on here. And our parents did, my parents did the best they could, and there's still an impact. And it's great that you are, looking at that for yourself and vulnerably sharing that, because it really does take something to be able to kind of reframe that experience to redefine what needs really are.
Go ahead, Rachel.
At one point in my life, I didn't even know I had needs. Like
Yeah.
I didn't even know I had them. You would have somebody say, do you need anything? Even to that extent. And I'd be like, no, I'm good, if I didn't want it, right? Like if I wanted it, that was my need. Like if I don't know how to explain it. If I wanted it, it wasn't a need.
Yes,
If
I totally get it. Yeah.
If I needed it,
Yeah.
I like need deodorant, and I tell you I need deodorant because I don't have anymore.
Right.
That was like my need, but I didn't know what a need was. I didn't know that a want could be a need. Right? So and I'm complete.
Yes, it really is like a whole new language and a new way of looking at things. And it was like, my therapist would be like, oh, you got to get what you need. And she's awesome. Like love her like, peanut butter and jelly on warm bread. But I was just like, what does that mean? Like, it just taken, and it still is a journey of rewiring language, because in my house and in my upbringing, needs were dangerous. They were dangerous to me. They were dangerous. Like, we need this first. No, I need this money. So the money I gave you 2 weeks ago, where is that? I need it now. I'm like, I couldn't say, I want to, buy potato chips with that money. No, I need that money. It's like, okay. And they were doing the best that they could, but now I'm an adult and trying to figure, now I need to say, I need something, and I need to not freak out every time I need to do that, because the huge part about needs is that you cannot get what you want if you're not getting what you need. And so many of us work on goals where this is what I want. I want to be a millionaire, but you're not getting your basic needs met. Like, you want to be a millionaire, but you're not going to the dentist. Okay. You're not taking care of yourself. Like, how do you think that's really going to pan out later? So are there any other questions? Anything around, any questions around needs, or who is there?
I don't have a question.
Okay.
I'm in commute. I don't have a question, but I do have something to say about needs. I don't know, can you hear me clearly? Because I'm in a car.
I can.
Okay, awesome. Good morning, everyone. As you were speaking, I thought about just growing up and not being able to voice, like, I need anything, so it developed into a habit to not pay attention to my needs, because you don't need nothing. All you need is what I provide you. So I didn't have autonomy over whatever my personal subjective needs were, because you only need what I provide you. So I have developed a habit over time to not even pay attention to a need until life knocks me down so hard, and then I have to vocalize I need, and the struggle to express I need X is real, especially as a Black woman.
Yes.
Just to say
Yes.
I need X or Y to another, I can say what I need to maybe to myself sometimes if I can see it, but to express I need X to another human being, that took some huge transforming for me to do, just to vocalize it. And I remember if I needed something, especially if I needed something from somebody, the tremor in my lip or the tremor in my entire body, as though that in itself, the asking or the expressing, was trauma, just getting it out of my mouth, as though if I express my needs, I'm going to be in trouble.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, that makes absolute complete sense. Yeah.
So I know a lot of people go through, and it's why a lot of people don't even, like, if you're in a relationship, your spouse may not even know what you need because you're not clear what you need, and you also have trauma or habits over time to even express what you need. And not only that, how many men or even Black men, even on this call, where, like I said, I didn't have an option to even express my needs. So I don't even know what that was like for a lot of men to not even have the option to think about what they need. So this is a deep conversation. And I would love everybody to just like explore even more what you're saying around just the inquiry of not being able to even express what you need and the fear of that.
Yes, yes. Yeah, you made so many great points there. It's really, it's that a need is a threat. And it's the thing is like, to get about it is not to feel bad about it, but it's literally a threat. You know, people fight for their lives to get their needs met. Like, it is a reality on the planet. There are people right now that don't have the basic need of clean air, and we experienced that a couple of weeks ago here in New York.
Right.
So
right.
that's one. So it's actually a weapon that's it's weaponized in systems. So then you take it into families, and like, a need is like, no, you're telling me what you need. So that means I'm not giving you what you need. So now it's like an issue. I also did not have, if I said, oh, I needed something, it was like, I was an affront really to my parents to say that they weren't doing something right. It's like, sit down. What are you talking about? And so that translates into life. And the other aspect where this is where people experience burnout and also what really happens is a duality. You start to live kind of split, which is, if I just continue to give people what they need, at some point, they're going to give me what I need, is what children do.
Yeah.
So you start to say to yourself, so you have like a split and you go, okay, I'm not getting, if I just do this, I'll get what I need. I'm really not happy right now. But the other side of it is, I'm going to present myself like it's all good, like it's great. It's awesome. Yeah, but I'll just keep working really hard and then you'll get me what I need. And then until you lose your mind.
Yeah, like definitely this has been an eye-opener around safety, to the ability to be safe, to say, this is what I need. And also, like, when I think about how, even like when I was a kid, I remember like wanting to share, the little pencils. They used to be like these strawberry erasers that you put on the pencil or whatever, and your friend would share it with you. And I remember I come from a family that you could not borrow, not even a pencil, because if I brought somebody else's pencil home or whatever home, it was like, you better give that back to her. But I was receiving it because it's like I needed that community of being friends, but also being scared because of being in trouble. And it's like being in trouble and needs are kind of like associated with each other for me. You know, I don't know for anybody else, but for me, it was like,
Yeah.
I need this, but then I can possibly get screamed on or be in trouble because of this eraser that smelled like strawberries.
Oh, I remember that. It was like gummy.
That cost
Yeah.
a dime.
Yeah, those were fun. I didn't get
So
those.
very important conversation.
Yeah.
And thank you, Lidia, for being, bringing us to wake up.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing and sharing vulnerably your personal experience. Yeah, it's so funny, like what what we associate needs with, like it could be anything. And so what I'm committed to is that people understand what those threats are for themselves, like the language of it, also the feeling of it. If you just like one thing, if no one else has any questions, you could just sit and think of like a need that you have, and then like, particularly if something that's like, it's been ongoing for a bit. So there's some kind of like really uncomfortableness about it. If you start to think about it, just if you close your eyes, if you can, feel like how that, if you just say, I need X from this person or company or structure or whatever, just think about how that feels in your body. Like it literally you will literally start to feel what a threat feels like. For me, it starts to feel in my legs. I start to get a chill, and then it's like, then I get hot. And then I experience like my throat, like, the throat chakra, like closing up a bit. Like I'm afraid, there's fear of like, actually speaking the truth. And I'm like, oh God, I'm feeling like I'm under threat.
We have some more hands raised. Sister Laura.
Okay. Jacqueline, did I say that properly?
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Even in this conversation, I was afraid to speak up until Mika came on and started speaking. And I was like, okay. And so the lump came into my throat, and then I covered my mouth because it was like biting my tongue. But it does come back to the childhood. I was raised in a Caribbean household, and we did not. I'm gonna speak louder because I'm out on this thing with this thing in my head. And you were not allowed to borrow anything from anybody or take anything from anybody. If we went out to somebody's house, my mother would instruct us, if they ask you if you are hungry, you better not say that you're hungry. I provide for you, blah, blah, blah. And so when I'm dealing with my partner, I find it difficult to express needs that I may have, and even to express disagreement about, for example, how to raise children. And my son brought me to the mat a couple of days ago. And basically told me that my failure to express myself with my husband has harmed him.
Oh.
And he is no longer allowing that to happen. And I was so hurt, but I had to listen because what he was saying was so true. And I know it was my failure to communicate authentically that created the issue. And I didn't see it before, but I see it so clear now. And because the way he did it, I really started to be defensive at first. And he was like, Mommy, I'm not accepting that from you. Stop it. Don't defend it. Because this is what my reality has been my entire life. And I did not know how to articulate that to you as a child, but I'm a grown man now. And I don't want to be in the middle of your lack of communication with your husband. And just before I came on vacation, and I'm glad it happened just before because it gives me a chance to reflect and not be in the middle of stuff. And so, yeah, I'm dealing with that now. And it's a shame around.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll be talking to my coach about it in a couple of days. But yeah, so that's where I'm at right now. And I thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you. Well, thank you so much really for sharing that so authentically and from a place that really matters to you, which is, your relationship, with your son. And also I'm hearing how he then is going to experience, his own relationships too. And it's beautiful that what you have created is that he's a man who can see something and say something about it. So even if you have shame around, now you've made me emotional. Like, oh my God. Even if you have shame around not being able to voice your own needs, just knowing that you actually broke it. You broke the chain, So it's worked somehow because he had the ability to speak up and say, there's a need I have, it's not being met, and I'm going to say something.
Yes, and he told me that in his relationship, he's going to be different. And I thank you for what you just said, because I felt free, even though I was very hurt. I felt free. I was like, oh my God, there it is. And I had to, and I thanked him. I said, thank you for telling me. Thank you for being so authentic. Thank you for trusting me enough to be able to say this to me and not just walk away and act like nothing's happened. And I told him, I'm taking you very seriously because I know that this is something that I needed to work on for many, many, many years. It started in childhood, as you said. And so, yeah, at 61 years old, I'm still dealing with it. But I felt freed up because now it was put out on the table, it was said, it was plain. I saw what the issue was with him, and now he and I can heal. And my next step is to do that with my husband.
Awesome. Awesome. So may I offer you something?
Yes.
Great. So you said it was your failure to communicate authentically.
Yes.
And though that's technically a fact, okay. But what I want to offer you is to change your to open your perspective about that and not look at it as a failure.
Okay.
You didn't have the tools. You didn't have the language. If there is a reason why speaking your needs, you didn't do it. So it's more what I'm hearing is like your needs are unsafe even to you. Yes. So how would you then have the tool to call something called communicative, authentically?
Right. Right. And it was. I felt that my speaking would be a threat. It was a sort of a Maya Angelou type of story. And so
and it may be. And that's the truth. Yeah, it very may well be. Like when you start asking for what you need, things start to shift around. Like when I start to ask for what I need, my life kind of fell apart a little bit. That, and you have to allow for that all of a sudden people are like, I don't know what to do now. And my mother would be like, well, since you always get upset now, like you very well, it is. It's the reason why you don't do it. It's hard, and it may shake people up. But it's like first honoring that there's a need for you, and having that, addressing your own shame around needs and like, okay, how can I be at home and at peace with my own needs in my body? And then I can then do something called communicate authentically. Because right now you're not communicating authentically with yourself, or up until this point, you know, and whatever, you know.
Yeah, I got that. I mean, and when he said that, that's when I really said, oh my God, here I am thinking I'm transforming and changing, and I'm stuck in this place and could not see it. It was a blind spot, but at the same time, I was somewhat aware of it, but not to that extent. And it shook me to my core. It absolutely did.
Yeah, that's wonderful. It's a wonderful breakthrough to have. It's great that you're creating that within your family, and I'm excited for you.
Thank you. I'm scared, but okay.
Yeah. It's legit. It's legit. Wow, this experience has been so awesome. I feel so filled. And I'm really grateful to be in this space with everyone. So I've gotten a lot. I think I've gotten more than I've given, which is great.
Well, we have one more, please, and that's Sister Laura. And then maybe you can to wrap after that, if no more to come up.
Yep.
Greetings. Thank you, Sister Lydia. I am actually shaking in my body right now.
Good.
So emotional this morning, but thank you for this conversation. I resonate with all the shares so far, so I won't go into details. But one thing I used to be, proud of was my fierce independence. I wore it like a badge on my chest until I learned that it was a trauma response. And whoa, okay. But what have I done with it? I'm still feeling enabled to ask for what I need. I feel crippled, to be honest, real crippled. So much so, what I'm present to this morning, that shame or whatever it is around asking to fulfill my needs is affecting me physically and mentally. So that is what I am grappling with today. Yes, I'm grappling with it. So I'm grateful for this conversation this morning. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing authentically about where you are. Is there anything you would like to receive?
Just ways of how to get actually, I'm doing a parenting class now to unlearn and to learn what I didn't, know, just to help me to deal with, some of my situation. So I need help with dealing with the situation.
Yes. Okay. And also there's a specific area, right, that you're looking at where you're not getting your needs met. Okay. All right, good. So may I offer you something?
Sure.
All right, awesome. So the first is, the way I look at it is that your relationship to your needs is and how you've grown up. It's the path that you got here. And you got here how you got here. It's like being on a trip and like everything went wrong, but getting there, but now you're in paradise. You got there. And your parents did what they did, your primary caretakers did what they did, and you got where you got. And the other thing about, one thing I'll say about, didn't say this, but the thing about trauma responses is that I think the pathology of medicine, of healing modalities and this and that, is to get rid of something, heal trauma. Like it's like a blister that somebody wants to pop, and boom, you popped it, you put a Band-Aid on it and you're good. That's not life. These things will come up. So I would look at it more as how how to use it sort of as a strength also, because there are strengths to being so tuned in that you can actually get people what they need. So there's one. It's not something like, oh, I got to get rid of this thing. I got to get rid of this thing. Because that's what, that's what traditional therapies and healing modalities would say. You got to change. But there's some sort of benefits to it. And where I would start is for you to look at your stories, your trauma stories around when was the time that you said, I got to give these people what they need, or this situation what they need. I need to put myself to the side in order to be safe. Like, and I am very clear. There's a very specific time when that actually happened. And most people, I would say, if you have challenges around your needs at some point in early development, like there was a time where you were like, shut up. You had to shut up, and something else had to happen, so you can get your needs met as a child. So I would start there, kind of look at it like as a kind of relearning yourself, coming home to yourself. That's why I named this workshop that, because otherwise it's the shame that comes up. You're like, oh, I should have, why don't I know this? I'm 45, I'm 61, why? It doesn't help you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Thank you. Be well.
Ashe, ashe.
All righty. So now I wrap up, right?
Yes, go on.
That's what I do? Okay. All righty. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here authentically, sharing your stories, sharing where you've been, and where you want to go forward. As I said, I've received so much from everyone, and I think there's a slide now with like my contact information on there. Actually, on my last slide, I'm offering actually a 50% discount on a live workshop that I'm doing around this topic on the 22nd in Manhattan, in Chelsea, until 50% off until the end of tomorrow. So it's normally 44, it'll be 22 just for this community. And that's the link there. And I could also drop the link in the chat as well, if that works for people. And also put it in the, oh my goodness. Where's the Zoom?
We got you, Lydia.
Oh, you got it. Okay, got it. I don't know why Zoom is showing up in so many windows for me. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you. And I'm also available on Instagram, which is, there we go. LydiaBonilla.com spelled out. You can always email me if you have any questions, Lydia@LydiaBonilla.com. And if you are more of a Facebook person, Lydia.Bonilla.750. That's how it shows up on the link, but my name is just Lidia Bonilla.
Okay, family, and here is our love offering and donation monthly automated links. There you can click in the chat. You can click on $25 a month, $50, $75, or $100 to share your love offering and donation with us, which is greatly appreciated. It keeps these sessions of value going. And coming up tomorrow, July 11th, we have another new facilitator with us, and this is Grisella Ashner, and her topic is Manifest Your Soul with Theory Hawk. Wow, interesting topic. very intriguing title. Look forward to seeing what that is about. And then following on July 11th, Wednesday, we have our very own Jamie Monet Lloyd, who will be sharing a topic. We gonna make it Wednesday. We're gonna make it Wednesday. Looking forward to that topic also. And for the newcomers, we welcome you to a community where we come to learn, elevate, and ascend. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. And if you're new, please come back again. Don't hit it and quit it, as we like to say here. And just share in the chat, whether you're here with us on Zoom or you're with us on Facebook. Share that you are new and let our community welcome you with open arms. And for you newbies, here is our schedule. We're streaming live here on Zoom, Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and on Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 to 7:30. And we're always streaming live on Facebook. And if you'd like to participate in our live sessions, get your Woo alerts by texting Woo Nation to the number 74121. Again, that's Woo Nation to 74121. Here's another exciting way you can support our community, and that's by visiting our Woo Swag store, bit.ly/Woo Swag. There you can choose from several exciting items we have. Journal, which is always necessary for all of our sessions. You can show your pride for Woo in the street with your t-shirts, sweatshirts, and you can hydrate by using one of our Woo water bottles. Or we have candles for your altars. They make great gifts also, and several other choices of items that you can choose from. Visit our Woo Swag store today, bit.ly/Woo Swag. And here now, I want to thank you and offer a few other ways you can stay in touch. You can register bit.ly/Wake Up Movement. You can find us on Facebook, a private page, bit.ly/Woo Community, or our public page, bit.ly/Woo Nation. You can find us on Instagram at Wake Up Everybody Virtual. We're on YouTube, bit.ly/Woo on YouTube, or you can email us directly, info.wakeupseries@gmail.com. I'll now take the slide deck down and introduce Lydia to her love shower. Thank you, Lydia, for your presentation this morning.
Thank you,
so
Lydia.
much.
Lydia.
Thank you, Lydia,
This
for
has
this
been
word
so
presentation.
inspiring.
for bringing
It's
this
so
topic.
helpful.
Zoom
Good.
Thank
back
you.
into the
Good
community.
session.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bringing
Thanks,
this back,
Lydia.
Lydia.
Thank you all for the
Anita.
support. Thanks for the support of the
Thank you.
community. This has been beautiful. I really appreciate it. I'm grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We need you back, Lydia.
Yeah.
And let's move forward,
Definitely.
everybody.
Yeah, I
Thank
love
you.
the session.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.